Hello, YouTube. How is everybody doing today? I thought I would bring you guys along on a little walk that I'm making right now. Just a little walk, exercise walk out here outside of the Fee Avenue Library. This library is actually back up in Brevard County in Melbourne area. And the reason I'm back up here is I came up for basically visitation with my children, and I have some appointments I have to go to, medical appointments that I have to go through. I have to go to in Orlando, and decided to make a quick stop here to see my children for a day, as well as get kind of business and stuff closed up and caught up on this end. And then head over to Orlando, then come back get my kids, and they're going to be coming down south with me to hang out with me at Maurice's house for the weekend. I thought I would take advantage of this time to do a really quick recap for those of you who are new to the channel, wondering why the channel is called Living in a Van when I'm apparently living at Maurice's house. Technically, I'm still living in the van, even though I'm staying at Maurice's. I guess you could say I'm staying at Maurice's, even though I'm still living in a van. Now, I am pretty much sleeping and you know, using Maurice's house as if it were my own. But I still do live in my van. Oh, look at that rainbow. Isn't that pretty? Fountain has a rainbow right there. That's awesome. It's beautiful. Maybe you can, if the camera's picking it up. There's a really beautiful rainbow right there. And there's a bunch of I guess these are geese taking a bath out here. But anyhow, I am basically still living in my van technically, even though I'm staying at Maurice's. And the reason for that is I'm not sure how long the situation with Maurice will last. I am slated, or I'm you know, planning to stay there about 3 or 4 months to help him finish up some projects that we are working on together. Some of these projects include the ab oil product, which you may hear more about because that's a personal project that has personal meaning to me, as well as several other projects that are high-tech devices. For those of you who are new and wondering who Maurice is, he's essentially was a customer that I couldn't even sell a knife to. About 2.5 years ago, I was working the knife gig that was referred to me by one of the van dwellers. And it was for Hessler knives, and I was a salesman for those knives, and I traveled around the state of Florida and did shows, knife shows, and these knives are pretty decent for the price point. And I was sent down to Coral Springs, which is in South Florida, kind of a high-end ritzy area, and I essentially do the shows at Sam's Club. Well, I decided I was quitting the knife gig for various reasons, which you'd have to see the vlog videos because I talk about that in detail, what was going on and why I quit. But on my last show of the day, which, you know, I still gave it my all, even though there was only Maurice and one other potential customer there, I put on the show, didn't make any sales, and Maurice, though, said he really liked my sales performance, you know, my show. He said it was one of the best sales presentations he's ever seen. So he gave me his business card and told me to contact him, you know, if I'm interested in getting a job. I kind of shrugged it off because I was planning on just getting in my van and moving back up, you know, coming back up to Brevard County where my kids are in this area here, Melbourne, Palm Bay area, versus just staying down in South Florida, which there was no point for me to be down there. But I decided to go ahead and meet with Maurice and talk with him, and he ended up signing me up as one of his sales representatives for the Intelligent Track robotic chairs. The problem is these chairs were like really hard to sell for me, because I don't have any medical connections. They're like they're meant for like chiropractors and stuff, and they're designed to fix like back issues. But it costs like over $110,000, $150,000 per unit. So selling something like that is quite difficult, and I didn't sell any. So I kind of let it go. Meanwhile, Maurice had all these other projects he wanted me to help him with. And, you know, he kind of knows that I'm a computer type guy because I used to be a network administrator. I'm also a software developer. I mean, I've done a lot of different things in my life. So he'd been wanting me to go down to South Florida to help him get his various projects launched and finished up. But I kept turning him down because you know, I need to stay up in this area for my children, and he couldn't afford to outright hire me because he's actually retired. Maurice is like 74 years old, okay? And even though you look at the situation right now, he's living in a nice house and all that, he's kind of living off his savings and what he's got, and he's got to kind of watch his budget, basically, is what it comes down to. And trying to launch these new products and projects, we've got to be very careful with money going out, because until we get things sold and actually running, there's not a lot of money coming in. And what that means is, you know, he couldn't afford to hire me outright, and I couldn't afford to move down there and work for free. And that's what the situation was, which is why I continued to stay up in this area. Now, with recent developments, and also the fact that this YouTube channel is getting to the point where it looks like it may actually be able to provide an income for me that is enough to cover my basic expenses, which is paying child support. It can almost pay my living expenses and child support right now, because if you're living in a van, you really don't have much in terms of expenses. I decided to take a leap when I had issues with Walmart, because turn that off there, but I had issues with Walmart because they basically do crazy stuff. But you know, you can watch those gripe videos where I kind of talk about how I quit Walmart and everything else to get the background on that. But it became an opportunity for me to look at the situation and say, well, do I want to go ahead and try to follow up on Maurice's, I guess, offer to have me move down to South Florida? What he would do is pretty much let me live with him rent-free. And then in return, what I would do is actually help him with his various projects. The only issue then is that I have to continue trying to earn my own income to pay for child support and any other expenses that I come up with. So I took an assessment and took a risk and decided that going down to South Florida right now to work with Maurice, even though it does put me in a spot versus just trying to find a second job somewhere, you know, that would pay me even like minimum wage or a little bit more than minimum wage, was something that I'm willing to risk, because the result is this, basically. What it comes down to is if I take a regular job and they pay, even if they pay pretty decently, I'm never really going to ever catch up. I owe some arrears on child support, and I'm trying to get that caught up. But the second issue is I am like 52 years old, okay? And I need to try to make enough money to retire with and to live off with the rest of my life. Trying to work a regular type job at this stage in my life, it's not going to happen. I would never have enough money to pay all my debt and, buy even a nicer vehicle or a house or something to live in. That's why a lot of people are on this channel, is they're having a hard time just even making house payments. So everyone's trying to simplify and lower living costs or cost of expenses. So you can either lower your living expenses or increase your income level. Well, having an opportunity to work with someone like Maurice is not something that comes up all the time. And it was something that I've been putting off for the past 2.5 years, 2 years pretty much. I decided at this point that it was worth the gamble of going down there to at least try, for the next 3 or 4 months here, to see if we can't get these things launched, and if we can get some actual earnings coming in for the various companies and projects that we're working on. And some of the projects have a personal, the personal in nature, which are the projects that have to do with, preventing and curing cancer, which is what I'm really, really down there for. That's very personal to me. I've got, I guess a personal stake in it. And that is the main driving factor for me, pretty much risking everything else and heading down there. As far as the YouTube channel itself, thanks to the support of viewers like you, it is becoming a viable potential source of income for me. Not just like a part-time income, but potentially something that I can grow into a real job, which is why you see me doing all these different experiments and episodes. And actually kind of deviating somewhat out of the just doing van dwelling stuff. The reason for that is if I am to make it a full-time job with living, you know, to cover my expenses and stuff, I'm going to have to attract a larger audience. Now, in theory, I could start up another channel, but because of YouTube's new, more stringent monetization rules, it won't be monetized, and it could take a long time to get it monetized. That would mean I'd be devoting a lot of energy and time to produce content that doesn't generate any income. The fact is, I still have to keep paying the child support and all the bills, no matter what. So I can't afford to work on a bunch of projects and not get any income. So as a compromise, what we're doing is we're creating playlists for potential new channels and playing them on this channel, which is Living in a Van, which is supposed to be just kind of van-related stuff. And that allows us to get those videos monetized right away, so I'm not just working for free when I'm doing YouTube. I'm actually making money due to viewers who understand that, you know, the producers only really get paid when you guys actually let the ads run and watch them and sometimes interact with them if they're of interest to you. That's how I make money. So I've been very blessed and fortunate that a lot of my viewers understand that, so they tend to let the ads run, and some of them even run the playlists to help me get income. And it's not enough to live off right now, but it is enough to pay child support, which was the big thing that's been hanging over me for the past two and a half years since the YouTube channel took off. And with that out of the way, I'm actually a little bit more free. And what that means is I'm able to pursue producing content that will have a wider audience range. Now, that doesn't mean I'm going to abandon this channel, because the people here, you know, I feel like I know each of you almost personally, and I feel that you're all like friends and family. And the other thing is, I still love living in a van. You know, I still live in the van, as a matter of fact. It's not full-time right now, it's more like part-time. So, kind of like a weekender. I lived in the van, like I slept in the van last night. You know, I came over yesterday to see my kids, slept in it last night. I'm going to be sleeping in it tonight in Orlando as I head over to the VA hospital. So it's not like I'm totally out of van life. I'm living in the van, just not 7 days a week. More like about two or 3 days a week or less. And even though I'm staying at Maurice and can just stay there and spend the night every night, I still want to get out and explore, because once you kind of got that in your blood, you know, the freedom of being able to hop into your vehicle and drive anywhere and cook and eat and sleep, it's hard to get that out of your blood. And, you know, I miss being with nature, I miss being in the wilderness, I miss doing stuff like that. So I will continue to produce van dwelling content, and hopefully they'll be better quality, because I'm no longer having to say, you know, I only have a few minutes to film and then I got to run back to go to work somewhere in a 9-to-5 type job. Producing the van dwelling content as well as other content for YouTube is now my full-time job, and my secondary job is working with Maurice. So I got kind of two jobs going. The one working with Maurice actually doesn't pay anything yet, because it's all basically a business venture risk, okay? But the potential payout, if we're successful in our business ventures there, the work I'm doing with Maurice, is that I can pretty much retire within, you know, as soon as the business launches and is successful, I'll have enough money that all this stuff with the child support and everything else that's been going on, and the loss of my job as a teacher, magically goes away. I can begin a new chapter and live life to its fullest and do some of the charity work I'd like to do if I ever get myself out of my current financial crisis. So that's what's going on with that, and why I'm currently down in South Florida. Just basically working on some personal projects with Maurice that have personal significance to me. The potential to completely get out of my financial situation. Now, the YouTube channel itself is also starting to prove that, you know, if I head into it, I guess with both feet full-time and treat it as a business, I may potentially be able to bring it up to the point where I can make a living just doing videos and become I guess a filmmaker or a full-time YouTuber. So that's what I'm working towards. So look forward to more videos. I know some of you are wondering why I'm giving money away and all that when it looks like I don't have any money. The fact is, you are correct. I really don't have any money. Giving the money away is kind of my way to pay back to viewers of this channel, as well as society, to try to do some projects that I think that are worthwhile, mainly with homeless people, and trying to help them out and just brighten their days a little bit. So I basically take a percentage of my earnings from YouTube and from other ventures, and I put it back into giving it away. Now, I don't know how long I'll be able to keep doing that, but as long as I continue to earn enough money to cover my child support and other expenses, my plan is to continue to set aside money to devote back to just giving away. And I will be, assuming that the ventures take off, or YouTube takes off and starts to generate a real income, I'll be diverting even more money back into getting better equipment. So you may start to see, you know, me with an actual GoPro versus a phone camera, and then possibly some drones and other devices, gadgets that can help the quality of the video and whatnot to improve on this channel. But that's further down the line. I think more important than having expensive gadgets to produce your content is actually having content worth watching. And, you know, this channel's video quality has been like subpar, but yet we're still growing, and I think it's because viewers realize that this is actually not like a stage channel. This is real life. This is stuff as it's happening, good, bad, embarrassing or not. It's what's happening in my life. And since I've become a YouTuber, or have decided to share my life with you, I feel that you do need to see, or should be allowed to see, that, you know, this is life. This is what happens. It's not all pretty and rosy and everything. It is what happens, good and bad. And, you know, it always amazes me that some people still don't understand that what you're seeing, even if it doesn't make sense or seems ridiculous or seems just weird, is in fact what is really happening on this end. And it's not like I'm planning it all out and saying I'm going to do this and that. It's just what life is throwing at me at the moment, and I'm reacting to it in the best way that I know how at that given moment. But anyhow, I am heading out towards Orlando, going to be doing some more exploration out there because I'm trying to find a new home. And you're like, well, why would you be looking for a new home? Well, you know, I don't know how long this gig with Maurice is going to last or what's going to happen. And I have to prepare for the possibility that maybe I won't have a home. You know, maybe I'll be back in the van again. And if I'm back in the van again, I do need to keep upgrading the van, or possibly save money for another van. But I also have learned, you know, over the past 6 years or so of pretty much semi-full-time living on and off, that it's nice to have a home base. So I'm in process right now of scouting locations that may be suitable for building a home base. And so look forward to those videos. Until next time, everybody, I want to thank you all for joining me. I want to wish you all a safe day. For those of you up north, I am feeling sad if you're dealing with the cold. I'm hoping to maybe do some videos on that. But in Florida right now, it is like sweltering. It is like, I think in the 80s, upper 80s, maybe in the 90s right now. I'm sweating in the car because I don't have any air conditioning. But anyhow, take care, everyone. God bless you all. Stay safe.